I think it would be redundant, but I'm thinking about starting a blog that talks about how my cat's an asshole. He walked in front of the camera when I was in my bedroom. I had to start over. By the time I got halfway done, battery was dead. Came into the office to record on the iMac. He decided to jump on the power button for the battery backup for the iMac. So it just shut off. And now he's playing with a ball down there. There's nothing safe when you have a cat. So this is my last take on trying to film this video, and then I give up until tomorrow. I basically just want to make comments on last night's GOP debate and tonight's State of the Union, and what really troubled me, well, there was the homophobia and xenophobia and kind of covert racism of the GOP debate. And I think my background as a history major, women's studies minor, and as having completed almost, 60-70% of my law school education, I think that biases my opinion. I think I look at it through the lens of what I've been given. But the GOP debate last night scared me. And I don't think I've ever been scared before. I've been worried. Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann. I may have thought I was scared at the time, but it was more worry. Last night I actually got scared. And it was the rhetoric, the disconnection with reality. Santorum was talking about how, we should basically be ready to go to war with Iran, and, we've got to keep an eye on Cuba because Cuba could start harboring terrorists. We need to be more active about being pro-Cuba, although this president has, I think, done more to foster Cuban relations than anybody in a really long time. Santorum talked about how we need to be on the lookout for Al-Qaeda coming through South and Central America. So apparently now, like places like Colombia and stuff, when you hear about people getting, kidnapped by drug cartels, I think South America is dangerous enough that if Al-Qaeda is going to make a run for it, I think the Colombians can sort them out. Which is not to diminish any actual foreign policy, it's just the rhetoric was like, we're going to go to war with half the world because they're all after us. Or, even if they're not after us, they're loose on our enemies. And it scared me. And they talked about ballots and government forms about how they should only be in English because if you're in America, you should have to learn to speak English well enough to vote. Or, apply for a driver's license, or, I don't know, go to the hospital maybe? I mean, where do we draw this line? Kitty's gonna sit in my lap for a while, because he can't stop playing with the balls. Say hi, heart. Hi! But, where do we draw this line of, if you want basic government protection, you've got to speak English? Are we no longer going to provide translators for people who get arrested? It was just very xenophobic and scary. And then there's the homophobia where, none of them believe in gay marriage. None of them really believe in, separate but equal, like civil unions or domestic partnerships. And, they're all against abortion. Rick Santorum is against contraception. Like, legit. Like, there shouldn't be condoms or the pill or diaphragms or foam or anything. Just hope you're not screwing outside of marriage. So I think, there's like McCarthyism and isolationism, and I kind of got the feeling of, 1930s Nazi Germany, where it was like, these people want to run the country? Is anybody else paying attention? Is anybody else scared? I don't think they're running in reality. Bill Maher made a comment about how, It's going to be difficult for them when they stop running against Obama the myth and run against Obama the man. And that's because whether or not you agree with Obama, most of his ideas aren't as radical as people want them to be. I mean, you can dress Obama up as, you know, a hammer and sickle, you know, communist if you want to, but, you know, his healthcare reform bill was something that Romney did, and that was kind of the compromise that didn't pass back in the 90s. And fucking cat. Anyway, he's not that radical. He's, you know, he's to the right on most Americans on gay marriage. Most Americans are for gay marriage. He's not. So it's just scary. I think the rhetoric's scary. I think the potential there, I mean, of a Gingrich presidency, he's gonna cut capital gains to 0. I mean, think about that. We learned with Mitt Romney's tax returns that he's paying 13.8%. I can't think of a good justification why a multimillionaire who makes his money from investments should be paying half as much as somebody who goes to work every day. I can't think of that. You know, Mitt will say that he built the empire, you know, from his own, he didn't inherit it, blah, blah, blah. Congrats. But you're still making money living in America on income, so you should be paying the same tax rate. I don't care where you got it from. I don't care if you know, spent all, you know, year jetting around the world and taking over companies, or if you simply got your dividend check. You should be paying the same tax rate. That sounds fair to me. Don't know. I mean, you can invest it in a savings account if you want to. I think the interest rate currently is like 0.0002%. I mean, I had quite a lot of money in my savings account, and I got the interest payment, and it was like, you know, 10 cents. And I was like, oh, better start booking my flight to the Caribbean now, because that's where I'm going to retire. But, you know, just policies that are so out of whack with what's going on. And, you know, they've painted Obama as this crazy socialist who, you know, wants to take over. And, you know, Obama saved hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of jobs in the auto sector. You know, Republicans wanted to go for the whole Darwinism thing, which they don't believe in for evolution, but they do for business. You know, they wanted the U.S. auto industry basically to collapse. GM and Chrysler would be gone, if not for some of Bush and Obama's policies. Gone. And, you know, those aren't just direct jobs, those are the indirect industries they support. Not to mention our ability to buy, you know, cars made here in the U.S. So I think there's just so much stuff that you have to disengage from rhetoric. You know, Google's only a few keystrokes away. Research some stuff. And the other thing that's bothered me, there was a bunch of internet memes and, you know, posts going around about people were criticizing, there had been criticism of Occupy Wall Street, which I think you can criticize them on substance, but this idea that the Occupy movement is based on college students who, if they just went and got a job, they'd shut the hell up. That's what they're protesting. They're protesting about what the future of the country is going to be. They don't like where it's going. And the last time I checked, you didn't have to get a paycheck to express your First Amendment right to free speech. That was my reading of the Constitution. And, you know, with the apparent tabling of SOPA by Congress, for those of you who don't know what SOPA was, it's basically an internet piracy legislation that was supposed to basically make it easier for content providers, say the Universal Studios or MGMs of the world to basically have the US government take websites down. Basically, that was it. Domain name service blocking, basically erase websites from the internet. And there was an uproar, and I saw last week and this week people criticizing the nature of the SOPA protests and the PIPA, that's the other one, the other bill. And they were complaining because the protests were mostly internet-based and, you know, get off your ass and go protest the American way. It's a bill about internet regulation. We were protesting via the internet. Sounds appropriate to me. But there's just this... There seems to be a lack of discussion of the issues. It's not... We have genuine disagreements, so let's talk about it rationally using facts. You know, the president outlined tonight in the State of the Union, he said, Democrats agree with it, Republicans agree with it, send it to me in the bill and let's get it passed. And I thought, that'll happen. Because that's where we are. We can literally sit down and say, we agree on A, B, and C, but we're not going to do it. Because it wouldn't serve political purposes. The Republicans are gaining power because if they stop anything from happening, they can then claim nothing happened and blame it on Obama. And that's the same thing that happened with the criticism of the SOPA protests and Occupy. It's not that you're debating the merits, because I think you'll lose when you debate on the merits. So attack the form and say, you know, it's not real, or somehow it's less legitimate. I don't know. Just for the love of God, if you're going to do anything after watching this video, go Google McCarthyism, Nazi Germany, maybe do some searches on, like, the CIA. The CIA has a really good statistics website where they rank, like, education and standards of living. Go and see which countries place highest on those lists. Because I'll guarantee you the majority of them are either democratic socialist countries or countries that have a very high level of social welfare and social programs. Some of them also have debt problems, but so do we. And so I think if you're going to be in debt, you might as well be getting what you paid for. So go and look at that. And then, you know, go and look at SOPA and stuff. I mean, just Google. I mean, I had a Facebook friend tonight who said that, you know, Congressman Dodd and Frank railed against bank regulation. What do you think Dodd-Frank was? It was nothing but regulations on financial markets. So if you want to disagree, I'm happy to disagree. But I can't disagree with somebody who's pulling shit out of their ass, basically. You know, it's like fighting a crazy person. I can't do anything with that. So I guess just, I mean, if you're happy making up bullshit, that's fine, I guess. But don't expect me to take you seriously. Because if you're not, even if you don't agree with me, you can still be educated. But when you start doing, like, X-Files type conspiracy and, like, lost things where it's like 1 + 1 = 100,000 because of this secret formula I found. Tune right out. Tune right out. So, fact check maybe? I don't know. I'm scared. And I said a few months ago, people said, why are you watching the GOP debates? And I said, somebody's got to keep an eye on these fuckers. And that's when they were just, like, regular crazy. Like Rick Perry and Michelle Bachmann crazy. Because people were kind of like, oh no, they're crazy. They're not the real candidates we're putting on the spot. And then we got Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, Mitt Romney, and Ron Paul. And it's like, oh, just kidding. They're batshit crazy too. but I say that with love. I'll talk to you guys later.